Do you think that we have the potential to go beyond 6.5% if we do take more structural reforms in this budget?
Yeah, I mean, I think the next year's outlook is 6.8 to 7.2%. I think that's what the economic survey states. And I think which would lead to, and they've also said that the inflation is likely to be slightly higher than what it was this year. This year it was very, very muted. So you are looking at almost a nominal growth of close to 10%, but the inflation would still be less than or within the tolerable band. So you're looking at a nominal growth of 10% or so as per the economic survey, which I think is quite good. And it also talks extensively about the current geopolitical, geoeconomic issues that are there. So in that context, relying on the strength of the domestic economy and relying on the strength of reforms that the government is setting up, I think it's a good template to look at.
Right. Mr. Mukundan, if I could get you in on the discussion, while growth is holding up, it's all about global trade, geopolitics, and rates remaining volatile right now. From an industry standpoint, what's the biggest macro risk you think policymakers must address at this current hour and, of course, in the union budget?
Thank you. Firstly, I think what I want to say is a very balanced economic survey which has come out, which is very pragmatic. It is not saying that the situation is so volatile that we can't cope with it. It actually provides a lot of pathway to address those issues, the very issues you're raising. And I think the focus fundamentally is to become internally resilient and strong. And the key themes around which they're highlighting the path forward, and the economic survey is very clear about it, is systemic deregulation, the ease of doing business 2.0 as they want to, as they called it. And also within that, of course, there are two basic elements. I think they've highlighted there needs to be the operating principle has to shift towards what they call as hold someone innocent till proven guilty, and make sure that the process shifts to trust-based system. The second piece which they've clearly highlighted, which we've been highlighting to the government also, is that somehow we need to nudge the states to liberalize and ensure that the ease of doing business filters down to states at every point. And the Jan Vishwas 2.0 continuity, unified portals right across, and the judicial efficiencies are very, very critical. The second piece they actually also highlight is the whole point around addressing the challenge of AI. That's another big shift which is happening in addition to geopolitics, where fundamentally the focus, they are highlighting the focus which is a key strength of India in any case, which is our growth in AI is going to be application-led rather than building huge infrastructure, and fundamentally preparing our human capital to be ready for it. Then, of course, they've gone to highlight some of the sectoral champions. I think there can be a debate, but from the perspective of the survey, I could actually pick out three of them: semiconductors, textile, renewable energy. These seem to be one of the key elements. Lastly, I think if you look at in any economic survey, or it's a prelude to being the budget and the focus of the budget, it must focus on jobs. And clearly, there is an element of focus on gig economy, which is very, very positive. And I saw a very strong flavor of focusing on health. Health of the the workforce, well-being of the workforce, rather than just how many people are employed. I think that's a very, very positive shift. I think nudging the private sector, nudging the corporate sector to build a very healthy and resilient workforce is equally important. So all in all, I think growing internally strong, addressing the issues we need to do to our own industry to become more resilient is the focus. I don't want to leave out the MSME. MSME also has been a big focus here in this whole discussion. So more of it later, but I think the key points the survey is highlighting is all in the right boxes.
Firoz, you head the National Committee on Taxation at CII. Can you take us through what is the kind of changes or structural changes that you are from CII is recommending with respect to changes to taxation, tariff structure, and maybe policy reforms in so that more investments can come into the country?
Actually, economic survey speaks the same language we have been speaking. And in my mind, in the recent FTA we have just signed, we have to make India a manufacturing destination for the world. We can sell to Europe today almost anything and everything. Now, having said that, we definitely need a lot of things to help get more manufacturing going in India. And I somehow believe that time has come to look at accelerated depreciation in a big way. We need tax credits for investments to come in so that people invest. And I'm saying small, medium, large, everybody. And these are the type of things we need more money to come into capital. Other than that, we have been asking the government for a lot of tax clarity. And there, I believe, in indirect taxes, time has come for an amnesty scheme. And I think an amnesty scheme will take care of unnecessary litigation. See, we want to free businessmen from litigation, want them to concentrate on business. Amnesty helps the government unlock unnecessary litigation, get money in their pocket. So I believe that is something we are happy for the budget. EODB in every way, especially in taxes, is required. A complete digital track that everything in taxes we do should be online. There should be no paperwork. We are also looking at an ADR, what I call alternate dispute resolution, both in indirect and direct taxes. I somehow believe everything should not be going to court. And for that, a settlement authority, a dispute resolution committee to ensure only cases which are worth going taken. The department cannot file appeal in almost every matter to take back cases which are unnecessary there. So we need quite a amount of what I call ease of litigation also going. Other than that, we are looking at tax reforms in terms of SEZs. I think the SEZ story of India is still incomplete. And I think a lot of tax reforms are required in SEZs. The government has come out with schemes on manufacturing, warehouses, we require some benefits there. ROTEP, which is a scheme, especially to ensure that we get back our own money. ROTEP is what? ROTEP is my money. So that requires a lot of changes. And most important, the custom duty slabs. If you saw GST, immediately welcome. We have rationalized the slabs. Industry is happy. Unnecessary litigation has ended. Classification disputes have ended. In customs, I honestly believe there are too many slabs. We need lesser slabs. So that will overall rationalization of custom duty slab is definitely something which will help industry, which will help government also. Coming to the direct taxes, I think the government has done a lot of good job on personal tax. And I definitely believe it is greatly welcome. Yet other than that, in direct taxes, we also want simplification of tax, simplification of the return forms, once again, alternate dispute resolutions. So this is our direct taxes. I somehow believe the economic survey talks of both things. It talks of domestic demand and it talks of FDI. In my mind, for domestic demand, we need more money into people's hands. And more money in people's hand will come through rationalization of taxes, which we have just seen in GST. In GST has actually flipped. I come from FMCG, and we have seen definitely there is a whole flip in the economy, even in the rural economy, with the GST rationalization. I somehow believe this should give the government a little bit more confidence. Then let us go ahead and now rationalize other taxes also, because that will also give an overall flip to the economy. Similarly, what FDI, when we are talking, wanting more FDI, what we want, what the foreigner looks. Foreigner looks at more. They don't mind paying taxes honestly, but they want clarity. They want clarity on, and they want a level playing field. And I think so that is something we owe to the foreigners so that they come and invest. We need to give that so that more FTA can be attracted and we take the full benefit of the FTAs in front of us. So this is the bullet points of what I think we would be asking for. There are many other things, but for paucity of time, maybe this is what I'd like to concentrate.
Okay, well received. Mr. Bhimani, if I could just switch gears from the economic survey to the budget now next. How would you describe the mood in the industry right now? Would you say it's more confident, cautious, or conflicted as we're just days ahead of the budget?
Well, I would say the mood is very confident, as it is reflected in the overall GDP growth numbers that India has been looking at. And even if you look at what the economic survey says and others, credit rating has improved, fiscal deficit is under control, various reforms that the government is doing. I think that's being taken very well by the industry. So overall, I would say even when we do the CII CEO confidence surveys, I think the surveys are quite strong, very positive. So overall, I would say the mood is very positive, and the India-EU trade deal, I think particularly has had a massive positive impact, as in when the deal gets approved and gets finally signed and goes through the parliaments, various European parliaments. I would say that will have a very, very positive impact. The thing that I would say, if you have to look at from a concern standpoint, the currency volatility is something that is impacting industry because it impacts more foreign direct investors, more foreign investors than I would say domestic investors. I think from a P&L standpoint, actually it's good, but no one likes so much of volatility. Although as it was as he had laid it out, that if you look at it over a 5 year or 10 year span, it is more it's more normalized. It's within what most other countries have seen. But if you take apart from that, I would say that is one area which people are watching closely. Outside of that, and also the capital markets have been very positive. So, I mean, at least the IPO market has been very active. So, companies, especially startups, who are looking at listing, raising capital, I think that it's been a very, very, very positive overall. So, I would say mood is very positive. And I think the industry is looking at how the government lays out the roadmap for Viksit Bharat more clearly, particularly in terms of reforms, in terms of how do you make manufacturing more competitive in India, looking at areas around, as Mukundan had mentioned, areas around ease of doing business, on what we can do to reduce the factor cost of production, and in areas like reforms like what we are doing on disinvestments, privatization, and also skilling and R&D, which is one area which I think for India to be competitive, both from an industry standpoint and government standpoint, what can be done better there. So I would say that's where the industry is looking at. I think people have a good sense of the GDP growth number that government will be looking at, given what's been stated. The government has always maintained a very clear posture on fiscal deficit. They're following the glide path, so one assumes that they will be doing the same. And so, yeah, that's the sort of overall sentiment.